Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all of you. So today we will continue on the other topic of this subject, which is project planning and scheduling. Okay, so the first topic that I'm going to cover for today is project monitoring and controlling. And I hope that later on we will have sufficient time for us to cover the other topic. Okay, since this is supposed to be the final class before we have our final examination. So I try to compress two topics for today. Okay, so later on I will share to you the topics and also the assessment that we still have to be completed. All right. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned just now, this is our topics. Okay, starting from week 9 up until now, week 15, which basically my part, second part for the subject. Okay, previously have been covered by Mr. Rahim. Okay, so as for now, we still have two more topics to be covered, to be completed, which are project monitoring and controlling, and also the other one we have project delay analysis, right? So as I mentioned just now, for today we try to cover both of these topics so that by next week we no need for us to have another lecture, okay? Since I'm sure that all of us are quite busy with the upcoming final exam. So we try to finish everything by today. Right. So that one for our topic. And then for the assessment, so far we have done only this individual assignment 2. Okay, actually for the individual assignment 3, the assignment question is already prepared. Okay. However, as for now, I can't assess the e-learning. So hopefully, the system will be recovered soon, so that I can upload the assignment, the question for you to complete this. Okay. So the deadline will be on 5th of February, okay, for the individual assignment 3, which is the second assignment for my part. Right. So apart from this assignment, we still have test 2 before all of you sit for your final exam, right? So test 2 also will contribute for another 10% of your carry mark. So far, I plan to conduct this before final exam. And if all of you are okay with this date, which is on 8th of February, so we will proceed with this date. Okay. As for now, I have information regarding the final exam for this subject. Supposed to be on 12th. Is it correct? 12th of February. Have you got any information regarding your final exam? 12th of February. Right. So, as for now, I think this is the planned date for our subject, which is for our final exam, 12th of February. So, if all of you available for this date, 8th of February, so we will proceed with test 2. Okay. So anything if you have some other test or some other matter which is of lab on this date, you may inform me, right? Okay, so that's all for our quick chat, okay, which is basically our final quick chat.
Sorry, doctor.
Yes.
I want to ask.
All right.
For test 2, on the 8th of February, can I know what time? Because on the 9th, we already have the second final exam.
All right. So you have another, I mean,
Hello.
paper on 9th of February.
Yes, 9th morning.
Then February. So 8th will Tuesday. So is it okay if we proceed on the same time as today for the test 2,
Uh,
which is on 10, still on 10, around 10 to 1 p.m. 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. 1 p.m. Sorry. Is it okay? I mean, 8th of February, Tuesday, the same date at the same time as our class. Okay.
okay.
Is it okay? Yes, now, Aziza.
10,
Uh,
10, okay, doctor. Better.
Okay. Right. So far we will stick on this date, 8th of February, and the time will be around 10 a.m. Okay, and I think this test 2 only just a short test session. Maybe the duration will be around maximum 1 hour. Okay. Later on, I will share the detail regarding the test 2. Okay. All right. Is there any more question to
Yeah, for the final is 19, right? Not 12 February.
19? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 19. Yeah.
Because I think this is the just a draft information I got from the office. Also, it's supposed to be 19.
دكتور
All right. Okay.
دكتور
Yes, right?
دكتور can you replace the second test with a project or assignment?
Second test. Oh, so far I can do so because we still need to proceed with test 2. And
Okay.
this test 2 actually will help all of you for your final exam. And for your information, test 2 and final exam will be in form of objective questions. Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. So okay. As for now, for the test 2, it will be conducted on 8th of February at 10 a.m. Okay, the detail will be confirmed, will be informed to all of you later on, right? Okay, so is everything clear so far regarding the topics and also assessments?
Okay, okay, دكتور clear.
All right. Okay, so you, if later on, if you still have anything to clear, you may ask me. Okay. All right. I think without further delay, let us proceed to this class. Hopefully, we are able to cover these two topics, right? Okay. And these two topics will be covered for your test 2, right? In your test 2. Okay. So just as usual, this is our quick recall session. Just a quick recall on our previous week. Week 13 says last week, week 14, we don't have class due to public holiday. Right. So last week we have covered on project time cost trade-off, or we can just simply call it as project ratio. So that this topic is actually your second assignment, individual assignment. And as for the question, I will try to upload it as soon as possible. Once the e-learning system have been recovered, okay? Because I think right now currently the system is maybe the server problem, okay? So most of us or all of us can access the system, right? So I will share it as soon as possible. Okay. Regarding the topics that we have covered previously, you need to do revision on this topic as it will be part of your final exam, okay, especially for the calculation part. Okay, hopefully later on, the assignment given to all of you will help you a lot in preparing or doing the calculation, right? So, this just several subtopics that we have covered previously. So I hope that all of you can go through each of these subtopic so that you will have a better understanding on this project creation. Okay. Again, if you have anything that still not confirmed or still confused, you may ask me and I will try to assist all of you, right? Okay. Okay, for today, we will continue with this topic, which is on project monitoring and controlling. So before we go further detail for this topic, let us have some overview or introduction part, okay? Because in my opinion, we need to know the overview or we need to know the introduction so that later on it is easier for us to understand the whole topic. And maybe some of you for this semester also have registered for project estimating subject. So basically, some of the topic related to also to that subject. Okay, so hopefully all of you can understand this topic very well. Okay. Right, just for the overview or introduction part, the on how actually project monitoring and controlling related to whole project management, right? Especially construction project management. Okay, again, I think previously I have shared regarding this one. These three are the main project objective, such as cost, time, and scope. All right. So in all project or in all development, these three are the main target or the main objective by the contractor especially. Okay, so um, they try to target or they try to reach all of these objectives. Okay, so that they can deliver the project very well, right? They try to balance everything. Okay, so in order for them, for the contractor to achieve their project objective, so for sure they need the resources. So here we can see that this is the resources that I mentioned. I think I have mentioned this resources part quite several times in our previous class. So basically we have 5M for our resources, manpower or labor, and then we have another M for machinery, plant or instrument or equipment related to the construction, if it is construction project. And then we also have material, method, and also money, which is cost to run the project. So these 5M are very crucial for the project objective to be achieved, right? So apart from these three main objectives, we actually have the other target or the other objective, which basically are quite important or quite necessary for all of the project development or the construction project. Okay, so this include quality, safety and health, and environmental compliance. So at the end, the contractor or anyone who are in charge need to make sure that they are able to deliver a high quality project. Okay, that's why they need to consider the quality part. And then at the same time, they need to concern on this issue of safety and health because in order for them in preparing or in constructing the project, they need to concern, they need to make sure that there is no severe accidents happen during the construction. So that's why they need to concern on this issue of safety and health. right? And another important objective or aspect that they need to be aware and they need to consider is on environmental compliance. So that they need to make sure that their construction project, any development, do not have or do not give any negative impact to the environmental. For example, air pollution, we have noise pollution, and the other related environmental issue. Okay, so in overall, all of these need to be considered, need to be concerned by the person in charge. Okay, so that they are able to deliver the project very well, achieving their related objective, okay, by utilizing the resources at the optimum level. And then what I want to relate here is that in order for the contractor or the developer to deliver their project very well, so for sure they need to practice or exercise several key activities. Okay, for example, according to the project life cycle or the stages of the project, we will start with the planning, right? Planning, one type of the key activities or what we call key activities of project management. Okay, planning, we have organizing, okay, at the earlier part of the project, and we have once we have planned it and we have organized in terms of the resources. Okay, that's why we have the subject project planning and scheduling. And then these key activities will be continue accordingly to the stages of the project or construction activities. So, but apart from this planning, organizing, we also have the other key activities which include these two: project monitoring and controlling. So, as the project progress, we need these two key activities of project monitoring and controlling to be conducted so that we can monitor, we can control the progress of work or the in terms of the physical progress and also financial progress. Okay, so that's the relation. That's the relation of this monitoring and controlling to the project objective and also the utilization of the project resources. Okay, so I hope that all of you can relate this. Okay, so far is everything okay? Can you understand this? Okay, right. Okay, so we will continue to the next one, okay, to the next subtopic. All right. Oh, before that, this is basically the detailed definition of monitoring and controlling. Okay, so just for a quick brief for this both term. So basically, monitoring refers to the collecting, okay, recording and reporting information concerning project performance that project manager and others or other party wish to know. Okay, that's the key activities or several related activities for the project monitoring. They need to collect, they need to record and report the information so that they are able to monitor the whole progress of work or the whole condition of the project. Okay, so that's why they need to carry out this project monitoring. And for controlling, usually we will use data from monitoring activities to bring actual performance to planned performance. So the main purpose of monitoring and controlling is that we try to keep on track our progress so that the planned performance, the planned schedule will be achieved, right? So that our actual performance will be synchronous with the plan promise. Okay, so that's the main the main needs of these key activities, monitoring and control, right? Okay, so basically these key activities are just quite straightforward. Okay, as long as we are able to define what's actually monitoring and what's actually controlling, so so that it is easier for us to practice it in actual situation, in actual project. Okay. So in terms of the purpose or in terms of the what you call the why we need monitoring and controlling, because as we know, actual situation don't always go according to the plan, regardless the extent of planning. Okay, so we need to know that regardless our perfect planning or we have a very good planning, at the end, sometimes we still need to forecast for any what we call upcoming problems that may hinder our progress to be exact the same as the plan. Okay, so that's why actual situation or actual progress don't always go according to the planning. So that's why we need to raise our staff with the project monitoring and controlling part, right? So that we are able to monitor, we are able to control back if there is any deviation or changes to the plan, right? So the purpose is that to detect and to react appropriately if we have anything, any deviation or any problems that affect our actual plan. Okay, that affect our plan, schedule plan, right? So we are, in other words, we need to be ready for any deviation. Okay, so we know how to control it, right? Okay, so this is just the same as I mentioned previously. The component of a project monitoring and controlling, it will be related to, it will be related to the resources. Okay, on how we manage and later part on how we monitor and controlling all these resources. Okay, for the project. So basically, these resources are the input, okay, for the monitoring and controlling, and then for the outputs, we can observe, we can monitor in terms of the physical progress, as I mentioned previously, and also financial progress. Okay, these two basically are the main outputs that the contractor or project manager are targeted on. Okay, because it relates to the duration of the project and also the cost. Apart from this, we also need to focus on any changes or any deviation in terms of the design or engineering changes, and it also relates to the variation audit. Okay, that's the output for monitoring and controlling. Right. On to the next one. Okay, this is the details related to the physical and financial. Okay, as part of the component for project monitoring and controlling. Okay, so for the physical component of physical progress, it will be critically measuring the actual completion of activities and milestones. So it more on, as I mentioned, it more on more on time or duration of the project itself. Okay, as compared to the second one, which is financial. So financial for sure, we are focusing on the cost, right? The actual effort for cost, and then again, for these two, it's just quite the same. We will compare the actual completion against the schedule. Okay, this one we will compare the actual cost with the estimation or estimated budget, right? Okay, so Overall, it will related to the identifying significant deviation from the schedule estimates in the project plan. This one related to schedule since it is physically related to the duration, the time for the progress of work, and then this one will be directly related to the budget or the cost of the project plan. Okay, that's the difference between these two components of monitoring and controlling, right? Okay. If we look at on the what we call timeline of frequency on how frequent we need to conduct these key activities. Okay, first one, if we look at on this point logically. Okay, logically meaning that you as a project manager or contractor side or contractor team, okay, you are in charge in monitoring and controlling the progress of work. And then it is logically or based on your logic when you want to do monitoring. And it is obviously if there is obvious, what we call obvious deviation, if you monitor the physical and also financial progress, and you already detect some what we call some problems or deviation, so you need to do the instant action, right, to correct the deviation right away, right? And then apart from logically, you also need to conduct a regular and continuous monitoring and controlling, so that by having this regular and continuous checking and continuous monitoring, so it is easier if you have anything that might affect or that might what we call that might affect your schedule, so that you will be prepared very well to take any mitigation action or the control action. Okay, so that's why it should be conducted regularly and continuously. Okay, and for some of the project, it can be or some of the activities it will can be conducted end of the project or at the task completion, depending on the scope, depending on the nature of the activities. Okay, if you think or if you observe that there is no major deviation from the planned schedule, so it's okay for you to do the monitoring at the later part of the project. Okay, and similarly, this one, as soon as possible, if you detect any deviation, just do the correction right away. Okay, necessary action which is instantly conducted, right? So that we can keep the progress on track, where the actual progress will be matched with the planned progress. Okay? Both physical and financial progress. All right, so that's related to the timeline of frequency for project monitoring and controlling. Okay. And this is related to the location. Okay, so basically, these two key activities are being conducted what we call the location itself according to the situation. Okay, some of the project or some of the activities what we call it varies according to the situation or according to the project. So it can be conducted on the spot, okay, where the especially in case of urgent, what we call urgent matter, or you have detect a major deviation for the physical or financial progress, so you need to do it on the spot, right? And then these activities also can be done from the side office and also head office. Okay, so basically for both of these will be conducted especially during the progress meeting. Okay, so that's the basic location that we can conduct these two key activities, right? In monitoring and also controlling the progress of work. Okay, in terms of the method and documentation, this one related to the progress meeting. Okay, so any meetings with the clients, parties involved in the project, such as contractor, supplier, or subcontractor, which relates to the project as a whole or sub activities. Some because some sub work from the whole activities. Okay, so we can collect all the required documentation, required progress based on the meetings. Okay, such that the person in charge, okay, the contractor or project manager, can observe, can check on the schedules, okay, so that they can keep track on the progress. Okay, need to update CPA per charts and update also Gantt chart or the master program for the project. Okay, similarly related to the milestone. Okay, and this one is the main what we call the main document that can be referred to, especially based on the progress report. Okay, the PIC or person in charge will be able to monitor and control the condition. Okay, they can monitor either the current activities, okay, the current works, ongoing activities on track or not, okay, according to the plan schedule. Okay, apart from that, meetings, reports, they can also do the monitoring through tests and inspection on site, right? So based on the test and inspection, they can either check whether the works have been completed or progress very well according to the schedule. Okay, and then related to the types of delivery or staggered delivery. Okay, they need to make sure that all the activities or sub-activities are able to be delivered very well. Okay, so they can always keep on track on the progress of work. Okay, and then most of the company or organization, they have their own project management information system. So that one, they need to update on the system so that it will match or synchronous with the actual progress on site. Okay, that's related to the method and documentation, right? Okay, so far, is everything okay? Can you understand this? Okay. Again,
Okay, Victor.
all right. Okay, again, if you have anything to clarify, you may ask me or you may interrupt me during the explanation. Okay. Thank you for your response, right? Okay, the next one we are going to look at on methods of monitoring. Okay. So for the methods of monitoring, there are several types actually. Here we have 4 types of monitoring method. The first one is on time measurement, right? Then we have cost, labor time, and also work quantity. Right. So we are going to look at each of these method in brief so that we can identify and we can describe each method, right? Okay, for the first one, time measurement, is one of the commonly used method by the contractor or project manager, where it required agreement from both parties, meaning that from the contractor and also the client. Okay, so basically by using this time measurement, it relates more on what we call just now physical progress. Okay, so they have the bar chart of the work plan, and then they can come out with this physical curve. So that's why it's related to the time or duration of the planned activities, right? So if you are still remember, we have two types of this S-curve. The first one we have physical, and the other one we have financial, right? Okay. So for this method, time measurement, physical progress to detect any delay of work or activities. So it will be physically monitored. Okay. As I mentioned, it relates to the duration and also time of the project. The example of this activity monitoring, as you can see that we can trace back, we can track the plan and also the actual progress of work. Okay. So here we have the S-curve for the plan progress, and this dotted line, okay, we have the line to represent the actual progress. So based on this bar chart, based on this S-curve, we can track, we can observe the actual progress of work. Okay, how many days we are ahead or behind the schedule. So if the delay is quite quite bad or significant, we try to control it and to make sure that it will be back on track. Okay, so that at the end we can try to avoid any significant delay issues, right? Okay, so that's for the time measurement. Okay, for the second one, we have cost measurement method or the monitoring method. Okay, for this method, obviously it will related to the cost, right? Just now we have physical S-curve, and then this one we have financial S-curve. Okay, apart from the first one, this is also most popular method used by the contractors by what we call by monitoring the financial progress of the work. So it's actually just straightforward. Okay, as the name mentioned, the first one time measurement and second one cost measurement. So based on this, you already can identify what's actually this method refers to. Okay. All right. The next one, the third one, we have labor time. In labor time, basically it more focus on the resources, okay, manpower, okay, manpower or the working time for the labor. So by using this method, it require user or require the planner to identify labor requirements such as man hours, days, or weeks. So it's basically related, all related to the time. Okay, the time, the working duration of the labor. Okay, and for this method, the value can be distributed prorated. Okay, meaning that in average as cost method. Okay, value adjustment can be made according to the productivity. Meaning that the value of work can be adjusted according to the output, expected output of the work. Okay, it's just a brief description of each of the method. Okay, this is the third one, the third method, and then we have the fourth one, work quantity. Okay, just now it's related to the labor itself, to the manpower as part of the resources of the project, and this one related to the quantity of the work. Basically, this method only suitable for certain organization that plan the work or activity limited to a particular time. Okay, so basically this method related to certain scope of the project or certain scope of the activities. So for example, earthwork, spray tile, ceiling, meaning that it only suitable for a specific type of activities, right? Again, it value and also value adjustment, just the same with the previous method. It can be distributed prorated, and the adjustment can be made according to the productivity of the activities. Okay, that's the general description of each of these methods. Okay, all right. So far we have covered up until these basically these two subtopics, and the next one we are going to look at, we are going to relate on project control cycle, right? Okay, so project control cycle, part of the we call main component for the controlling activities. So we need to know, we need to be aware with this PDCA cycle, which is plan, do, check, and act. We have P, plan, do, check, and act cycle. So this cycle will practice in continuous mode. Okay, so meaning that we start from the plan, we do the check, meaning that we carry out the what we have planned, and then we check the planning and act accordingly, right? So for the plan, we need to have some what we call some related information or documentation, such as specification of the activities or the project, and then we need to come out with the project schedule. This one for sure we need to have project budget, resource plan, vendor contract, and other related information related to the planning activities. Okay, and during carry out the activities or the works, we need to compare the actual status against the plan, both physical and financial progress. Okay, so that's why we need to carry out the work properly. Okay, and then we need to conduct the key activities as necessary and as required. Okay, and continue to that, we need to monitor record status, progress, and cost. Okay, this is the monitoring activities. And then if during the monitoring, okay, during the comparing the actual and the plan progress, if we detect any deviation, if we detect any problems that may affect the schedule or the planning, we need to do the we need to correct the deviation from plan, and we need to replan as necessary. Okay, that's the relation of project monitoring and controlling to this PDCA cycle, right? Okay, so I hope that all of you can relate this as all of these are interrelated. Okay, and then we are going to look at on the briefly look at on project control itself. Okay, so again, project control related or relates to the process or activities needed to correct deviation from the plan. Okay, this is just the same as I mentioned previously. Okay, the main what we call triple constraints that we are going to control are related to the time, the duration, schedule for the activities. We are going to control the cost, budget, expenses, and etc. And in terms of the performance, the performance usually related to the specification, testing results, because at the end we are going to target for high quality end product of the project. Okay, so this basically the triple constraint, okay, related to the controlling activities. So next one. All right. So I think we can skip this since we have another topic. Okay. Is it okay for us to continue? Okay. All right. So I think just continue. Okay. Later on, before we proceed to the second topic for today, we can have a short break. Right? Okay. The next one, the item number 5 or the 5th item for this topic is related to the just now techniques for monitoring and controlling. Okay. Okay, for the techniques itself, basically these two are the main techniques available for monitoring and controlling that we need to aware, that we need to know. Okay, this one I'm sure that maybe some of you, okay, most of you already aware regarding this because and value analysis is quite common in construction project management. Okay, and then we have, this is the first one, then we have critical ratio. So these two are the basic techniques for monitoring and controlling. Okay, for the first one, earned value analysis is related to on how we want to measure the overall performance instead of individual tasks, right? So we need to measure the whole performance for the overall performance instead of splitting the task into the individual tasks, right? And it relates to use and aggregate performance. Okay, meaning that according to the phases of work, right? Okay. However, we still don't need to make it we don't need to split it into smaller parts of the task. Okay, we just we just analyze it as a according to the phases of the phases of the project. Okay, for example, we have earthwork, we have substructure and superstructure. So we try to analyze it as according to the phases of the construction activities. Okay. The other important thing is that earned value is actually refers to value completed. Okay, meaning that the value that we earn. Okay, the value that we earn for sure refers to the value that have been completed. So anything that have been completed, so we can earn that value, right? Okay, so that's basically related to the earned value analysis. And later on, we are going to look at on this earned value analysis and also on critical ratio. Okay, for the critical ratio, it basically calculates a set of critical ratio for all project activities, and these techniques usually being used for large project. Okay, so later we are going to look at on these two techniques, right? Okay. Continue to this, we are going to look at first on earned value analysis. Right. So for your information, earned value analysis itself has several methods for estimating percentage of completion. So there are 4 types of methods for estimating this percentage of percent completion. The first one, we have 50-50 estimates. Second one, we have 0 to 100 rule. Next one, we have critical input rule, and the last one, we have proportional rule. Okay, so these 4 are the methods for estimating percent completion under earned value analysis, right? So just a brief description. The first method is assuming 50%. 50% is assumed when task is begin or begun, meaning that at the earlier start of the activity, and then the rest of 50% will be assumed or analyzed when work completed. That's basically the methods refers to. The first method. That's what it being called as 50-50 estimate, right? And in contrast with the second one, we have 0 to 100 rule, where there is no allowance for work until this one task is complete. Okay, so it will be included once there is 100% task completion. and it is highly conservative rule, right? As compared to the first one. Okay, and the next one we have critical input rule, which is we need to assign progress according to amount of critical input. Okay, and it is mostly dependent on labor or machinery. Again, it dependent on the project resources, which in this case related to the manpower itself and also required machineries to conduct the activities, right? And for the fourth or the last methods for estimating percent completion, it is on proportional rule. Okay, so proportional meaning that we need to divide plan time to date by total schedule time, cost to date by total budgeted cost to calculate percentage of completion. So that's why we have this proportional, because it proportionate the time itself, okay, to the cost, right? Okay, so that's the description for each of the method, the related method for earned value analysis. All right. And then for these techniques of earned value analysis, we need to know the basis of cost and performance to date evaluation, right? So the main basis is that related to the BAC, first one, and then we have EAC. BAC refers to the baseline cost to completion, which is budget at completion. B refers to the budget, and then actual cost to date refers to estimated cost. Okay, so estimated cost will be referred to EAC. Okay, and in terms of its how we identify the variable itself based on negative value. Okay, whenever there is a negative value, it's referring to bad condition or bad progress in terms of the cost itself. Okay, so cost and schedule variance are calculated as earned value minus some other mentions. So later on, we are going to look at on this, right? Okay, so basically this graph plotting visualize the relationship between time and cost in terms of its S-curve. Okay, we have here these three, what we call these three S-curve to represent planned value PV, this one PV, and then we have actual cost to represent the actual financial progress, AC here, the red color line. And then we have earned value here. Okay, what value have been earned so far according to the progress of work financially, financial progress. Okay, we have this green color. Okay, so each of these what we call each of these progress, each of these indicator can be calculated so that we know the what we call, we know the value for us to track or for us to monitor the work, right? So I will share to all of you this related variance, 8 types of variance. Okay, you need to remember that if it's related to the variance, you need to do the deduction. Okay, so at the bottom, at the upper part here, we have 3 types of variance here related to the monitoring and controlling in terms of the project progress. We have cost variance, first one, and then we have SV, schedule variance, and also PV, time variance. Okay, so for each of the variance, we need this component or this parameter for us to come out or for us to do the analysis. Okay, so BCWP and also ACWP, budgeted cost of work performed and also actual cost of work performed, are required information or required parameter for us to calculate the CV. The same goes to the rest. Okay, the most important thing is that we need to minus these two component or parameter so that we can come out with this one, right? So by doing the deduction, if we obtain negative value, so for the cost variant, it's showing that we are over budget of cost overrun. Okay. Similarly, for the SV schedule variant, if we have the negative value here, negative value, so it's referring that our project progress behind the schedule. Okay. So that need our action to correct this delay. Okay. And just the same for the time variance, it also represent project delay if we obtain the negative value, right? So that's the indicator on how we monitor and on how we need to control the work, okay, to control the progress. Okay, the next one, apart from the variance, just now we have variance, okay, for the earned value analysis, and the other one we have index ratio. So for the index ratio, we need to do the division, okay. Just now we do the deduction or we need to minus the value. This one we need to do the division. Okay, for CPI, we need to divide this to value, and similar goes for the rest, SPI and also TPI. Okay, later on we are going to look at on some what we call simple example related to this, okay, variance and also index ratio, right? Okay, this is the sample question that I mentioned just now. Okay, for this question, it is assumed that operation of a work package, the cost, this is the cost of this work package or simple work to complete. They were originally scheduled to finish by today. At this point, we actually spend this amount, okay? And it is estimated that they have completed only 2/3 of the work, okay? For the progress of work, for the completion, they have so far completed 2/3 of the work. So they are going to know what's actually the cost and schedule variance here. Okay. So we are going to calculate the CV and also SV variance for this situation or for this project. Okay. So here, if we want to calculate the CV, okay, again, we need to have BCWP and also ACWP. Similarly for the SV, okay, here, the BCWP will be this amount, 1,500, and the ACWP will be this one, 1,350, right? And because it's already mentioned that the current progress is only 2/3 of the work, so that's why they need to put this progress times of multiple with this BCWP. So if we look at the end, we come out with this negative value. So meaning that the cost overrun, okay, double check on this one. Okay, the cost overrun and also the progress and schedule variance is behind the schedule. Okay. Okay. And then this is the calculation for CPI. Okay, the index ratio, CPI and also SPI. Okay, if should be one is the what we call the good value to indicate that the project is on the right track. Okay, on track. Okay, so this is the how we calculate variance and also index ratio for this project condition. Okay. So this is basically continuation from the previous one, sample question 1, on how we describe the project status. Okay, so it's mentioned that spending higher than budget, and given what we have spent, we are not as far along. We are not as far along as we should be. Okay, So meaning that we can describe the situation or progress of work based on the calculation. Okay. So it is possible to have one of the indicators to be favorable while the other unfavorable. Okay. In this case, you can see that both indicator in negative value, so that it's quite unfavorable. Okay. So this indicator will be represent either our project or our progress, which is ahead or behind the course. It might be ahead of schedule or behind the course, right? So that's why we need this earned value analysis, right? And then this is some other plotting to represent the possibilities of earned value analysis, right? So you can see here that the indicator in terms of the SV and CV is schedule variance and also cost variance. Okay, there is six possible arrangement of ACWP, BCWP, okay, and also baseline for the combination of positive and negative SV and SV and SV and CV. Okay, so the first situation, combination of positive CV and SV. So this is how the what we call the S curve look like. Okay, and similar goes to the rest one. To the rest, we have positive SV combined with positive CV. Okay, it also can be this condition. Okay, so meaning that this is the main purpose of the value analysis, so that the contractor, the project manager can evaluate or can analyze the condition of the project. Okay. All right. So I think okay. We have another sample question. Actually, for value analysis, before we look at on the next one, critical ratio. Okay. So far, is everything okay? Yeah, I need to always ask all of you, because sometimes might be I'm disconnect from the session, okay, due to the internet connection, okay. Like hopefully all us are still okay, okay, for us to finish this topic and the other topic. All right. So for the sample question to earned value analysis, still on this method of studying. Okay, this is just a simple project to develop the country park, which has this actual cost in month 11, month 17 of this cost, and planned cost of 475,000 and completed value of 300,000. So what are we going to calculate is that schedule and cost variance, CV, SV, and also three indexes. Okay, these three indexes is sorry. So now we have these three in CPI, SPI, and also CPI. So we are going to calculate these three indexes together with the variance CPI, SPI, and also TPI. Okay. So based on the information and this given figure or graph, the BCWP or BCWS, this is actually the BCWS, 475,000. Okay, and then we have actual cost with the second line represent the actual cost of 350,000, and the last one we have 300,000 for BCWP. So this is the current record information on the month 17, right, in terms of the time or the duration of this project. Okay, so we are going to use this information to calculate the related variance and indexes. All right. Okay. So for the solution for this question or situation is that we are going to, since we know each of these information, CWS, CWP, and also ACWP, just straightforward apply this formula, apply this value to the formula. First one, we have formula for CB. So we can see that based on the calculation, showing the negative value for both CB and SV. So meaning that can be cost overrun and also behind the schedule. Okay, and then for CPI, take a calculation for indexes CPI, SPI, and PPI. It's showing that the value is less than 1. Okay, meaning that the project is not really in good condition. Okay, so if you can see here that the calculation of CPI and SPI is quite straightforward. You just change this what we call the symbol here. You need to do the division instead of deduction as compared to variance. For TPI, you need to calculate the STWP divided by ATWP. Okay, so how we can obtain the value for STWP is that we need to do this calculation. Time T equal to SV divided by slope of land cost, right? So SV is negative 0.75 divided by 475 with the total months or current months. So we have this time, negative 6.26, right? So we need to calculate the time difference. So this time difference will be included in TPI calculation. So at the end, we can come up with this value, right? Okay. So that's how we calculate earned value analysis based on the each project condition or situation, so that we can track, we can monitor, and at the end we can try to control the progress of work. Okay, and duration. Okay. All right. So far, that's all for earned value analysis. Okay, as part of the techniques of monitoring and controlling just now. So next one, we are going to cover just a simple we are going to look at it in just a short description, the overview. Right. The next one will be on critical ratio analysis. Okay, for and our first topic, right? Okay, so basically for critical ratio is just a straightforward formula. Okay, relating to this one, sometimes especially large project, it may be worthwhile calculating a set of critical ratios for all project committees. So as I mentioned earlier, this critical ratio techniques being used especially for large project. Okay, this is the formula for critical ratio, where you need the actual progress divided with the scheduled progress and times these two parameters with the budgeted cost and also actual cost. Okay. If a ratio of this calculation represented by 1 or value of 1, so everything is probably on target. Okay. The further away from from 1, the ratio is, the more we may need to investigate. Okay, so the main target is the ratio of 1. Okay, to present a good progress of work, or to make sure that everything is on track or on target, right? Okay, so as for the sample or example for critical ratio calculation, so we just need to calculate the ratio for these following activities and indicate which are probably a target and that need to be investigated. Okay, it need to be investigated, right? Okay, if you can see here that it's already given the required parameters that we need for critical ratio calculation. I summarize here. It is just what the calculation have been prepared, and this is the outcome, the output. Critical ratio for activity A, B up until E. Okay, we can see that only activity C with the ratio of 1, and the rest A, B exceed 1 and B less than 1. Okay, so what's the description or the actually the indicator of this value, right? Okay, so for activity 1, since it is more than 1.5, it can be on schedule and below budget. And also this is activity A. Okay. Next one, activity B. Right, activity B, 1.5. Okay, this one is 1.5 for A and 1.5 for B. Sorry for the bad handwriting. Okay, for B, it can be on budget, ahead of schedule. Okay, so it can be various what we call various indicator. Okay, depending on the amount here. Okay, budgeted cost, actual cost, and also similar to the actual progress and schedule progress. Okay, for activity C, it can be behind schedule but below budget. Is C, right? Okay, so that's that's the description of each of the ratio. Okay, so that's why it's very useful to represent the progress of work. Similar to the rest, okay, you can try to go through each of these. All right. So with that, that's actually the for the first topic for today, which is project monitoring and controlling. Okay. So far is everything okay? Maybe you can do your own revision again for each of the topic, right? Okay. Right. Okay, so sorry, 11, about 11:15. So I think before we proceed to the next one, okay, the next topic, okay, we can have a short break first. Okay. With this one, you may scan later on. This is we have another, we call another topic to cover, right? So we may have about 10 minutes break. Is it okay? Before we proceed to the next topic or final topic. Okay. So we will continue at 11:25. Right? Okay. See you later. Thank you.